An awe-inspiring night from Kevin Durant derails the Utah Jazz. Rudy Gobert has got to get more touches, but how do we get Rudy Gobert more touches? Diving into how he gets the ball, how much is self-created, and who gives it to him, all coming up on this edition of Locked on Jazz. Bum 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 pow.
You are Locked On Jazz, your daily podcast on the Utah Jazz. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
How are you? I'm David Locke, radio voice of the Utah Jazz, Jazz NBA insider. This is Locked on Jazz, your daily podcast on the Utah Jazz, giving you insight, expertise, geeky numbers, and hopefully making it way better to be a Jazz fan each and every day. Thanks very much for making Locked on Jazz your first listen of the day today. We are free and available on all platforms. My lighting here is so weird today. As well as on YouTube, so feel free to jump aboard and join me. Let's see, that just makes me black on YouTube. That gives you some light, but I'll turn black here in a second. Anyway, back in our hotel room in New York, bringing you a show. Thanks very much for everyone jumping aboard. The Jazz lose last night to Brooklyn. Honestly, it was just an awe-inspiring performance of Durant, and I don't think we need to totally get into it, but I mean, it's also one of those kind of stark reminders of the value of a true superstar in the NBA. His whole night to me was fully awesome. So his warm-up before the game, I think Ron and I talked about it before in POSTCAST last night, was just incredible. The way he comes out there, the diligence he takes to his craft. He comes out, he does a bunch of balance exercises, spins around. You've probably seen it on YouTube somewhere. Spins around, does all these balancings, and then he comes out. He's the only one on the floor, and he goes through his routine. He probably takes about a quarter of the amount of shots that a regular player takes in his warm-up time. They're all at full speed. He comes behind the three-point line for every single one of them. They're never in the same spot time and back and forth 2 times in a row. It's really was on, and then he never misses. Like, he didn't miss the entire time. I was with a good friend of mine, Jay Allen, who from Callaway Golf, and I would actually love to ask him today. Maybe he's listening. Like, I would guess his whole night was worth it to watch that warm-up. Like, to watch his warm-up and then see him execute it on the floor. It was awe-inspiring, intimidating, actually. I would, we'll never know, but like Donovan was on his side doing his warm-up, and I almost wonder, I know I could see like coaches were watching. It was like, I am here. This is my gym. I own this place. I'm here to kick ass, and I take this crazy seriously. I actually try to stop the superstars of this league whenever I have a chance to thank them, because frankly, I make money and my family has a really nice life because of what their craft is. Like, I do like to believe I'm good at what I do. I've worked very hard to be good at what I do. I take it very seriously, but without their unbelievable skill and effort, what I do, I would never have a chance to do this and make the money I make out of it. So I always try to thank him. I thanked him on a second level also. I just told him it was awe-inspiring to watch somebody who takes their craft that seriously. And that's what Durant did last night. And that's how great he was. And that's what a champion is. And that's probably what Giannis does. And that's what LeBron does. And it's awesome. It's totally, totally awesome to watch that take place, see that take place, and just be kind of wowed by it last night. And then to see him, hey, he clearly dominates the game as well and creates other things for everyone. And we have no answer. I think it's super interesting. I mentioned this on POSTCAST last night. It's super interesting to me. We haven't played them since 2019, so that the guy, O'Neal's not guarded him before, and O'Neal at this point has really guarded almost everyone. He's better the second, third time he guards most guys. And, he was trying last night, but I don't think he knew what he was doing against him. I don't think he had a plan because of the lack of time he's gone up against him in his career. So that's, hey, that was the story last night. Is that Durant's unbelievable. It was awe-inspiring to watch it. From a bigger picture, from our standpoint, like, we don't have that. Like, let's Like, Donovan's great, Rudy's terrific and impactful, but like, we don't have that. Let's be perfectly clear. And that's the challenge that we have as an organization, is trying to find a way to win massively important basketball games without a player that is just unguardable. And that's a lot of what we're going to get into right now. Because the greatest teams in the league, Giannis, Durant, Luka, Jokic, Steph maybe, are really to an extent you can try to control them a little bit, but you can't stop them in any way, shape, or form. A lot of what we are is based on Donovan and Rudy, both of which can be slowed considerably. Let me just zero on Rudy today. Donovan's pretty unstoppable too, but not at the 7-1 level, 6'9" Luka Doncic level, 7'1" Nikola Jokic level that we're talking about. So when Rudy Gobert takes 5 or fewer shots in a game, we're 7-8. When Rudy Gobert takes 6 or more shots in a game, we're 31-11. We are, which is a 74% winning percentage. In 6 of the last 10 games, Gobert has taken 5 or fewer shots. Previously, it was only in 9 of the previous 32. Okay? So you can kind of do that math. He was at about 28% of the games with 5 or fewer shots, and in the last 10, he's at 60%. If Rudy scores 14 or more points, so there's a kind of a caveat here, like he didn't get his shots against the Knicks, but they fouled him a million times, and after missing his first 2 free throws, he made 10 in a row. If Gobert scores 14 or more points, we're 27-10. So that's a 73% winning percentage. It's right on the same number. When Gobert scores 13 or fewer points, we're 11-9. So let me give you these two kind of benchmarks, because it's pretty interesting to see. And I've alluded to this before, but I'm going to really dig in today. I've dug into the deeper level in who assists him, how does he get his shots, where do his shots come from, and we'll even screenshot, if I can, a few things from last night's first quarter and game. So the two benchmark notes here are that if Gobert takes 6 or more shots, we win 74% of the time. If Gobert scores 14 or more points, we win 74. That's it. 6 shots, 14 points. Okay, if I know this, opponents know this. Right? Like, I'm not like some master here that knows something. Like, I'm not building this is common knowledge. This is, I went to Basketball Reference and I sorted points and I sorted field goal. If a team in the league's not doing that, they're incompetent. But what's unnerving is that 6 of the last 10 games have had him with 6 or fewer shots. What's interesting also on this a little bit is if Rudy scores 20, we're 10-4. If Rudy gets 10 shots, we're 13-5. He doesn't have to get 10. He doesn't have to score 20. It's actually just 6. The same winning percentage if he takes 6 as if he takes 10. The same winning percentage if he scores 14 points, if he scores 20 points. It doesn't have to be massive. So that's the premise. Now, how does he get the ball? What are the chances? And why couldn't we do it last night? I'll touch on those things as we continue. The Tuesday edition of Locked On Jazz is brought to you by Murdoch Hyundai, located at 4646 South State Street, also located in Logan and in Linden. The Hyundai car is amazing. I test drove a Ioniq Electric with my dad the other day. Sweet. Really amazing with the gas prices. The electric's great. I'm driving the Kona right now. I don't hate the 34 miles to the gallon I'm getting on that as well. From that standpoint of things. The Elantra was a North American Car of the Year last year, and the SUV lineup includes the Santa Fe and the Tucson as well. And the Palisade is simply beautiful. The nicest thing is that the Murdochs are not charging you more than MSRP. It's just really a great commitment to the community in what they're willing to make sure that you have a great experience and that you do not feel gouged and taken in this time of demand on car shortage. It's all at Murdoch Hyundai at 4646 South State Street, also in Logan and in Linden. Email me first at dlock09@gmail.com, and I'll set up a VIP meeting for you. Today's show is also brought to you by Rock Auto, which will save you time and money with no need to spend 30, 50, or even 100% more by going to a chain store or a car to get things for your car. For example, the Honda Odyssey fuel pump is $353 from the chain store, $216 from Rock Auto. It's a family business serving do-it-yourselfers for over 20 years. Rock Auto prices are reliably low for every customer, and they have everything you could need. Brake parts, tail lamps, motor oil, you name it. It is there. When you go to rockauto.com, please check out, Locked On in the How Did You Hear About Us section. Reliably low prices all the time. Amazing selection all the time. It's all the parts your car will ever need. It's rockauto.com. All right. Let's, listen to this comment here from Lacey. Joe was always good at getting the ball to Rudy. Is that a factor in Rudy's low shots? Well, at this point of the season, Joe Ingles has actually assisted more Rudy Gobert field goals than Donovan Mitchell or Jordan Clarkson still. Barely, but still. Mike Conley's gotten him the ball the most of anyone this year. But here's what gets interesting on Gobert, and then we'll look at last night, just from a big picture on how do we get Rudy the ball. So Rudy has 312 field. There's a lot of numbers coming here. Rudy has 312 field goals this year. 200 of the 312 are dunks. What's interesting to this conversation is the first thing Paul right now says, we need taller guards. I can't see. Lacey says Joe Ingles has got to go get Rudy Gobert the ball. The implication in all of our conversations are that guys have got to go get Rudy the ball. So that, by definition, is the first issue that we have to address, that unlike the key components of a lot, Rudy needs someone to give it to him. Like, we have to just, that's where Rudy is. That's a little bit of the weakness of Rudy. Rudy has to have someone get him the ball. Like, he can't create it. We can't just throw Rudy the ball in the post up and have him go to work. That's not his game. The second thing, though, is that 33% of Rudy's field goals, according to my math, are coming off offensive rebounds. So and here's how I figured this out. Only half of Rudy's dunks are assisted. Right? So Rudy has 200 dunks this year, and Rudy's dunk percentage is assisted at 48.6%. This is actually a career high. Rudy used to get more offensive rebounds that he put back for dunks than he used to. I'll bet you I could look up putbacks somewhere in the Ethernet of the world. I don't actually know where that is. Rudy Gobert's percentage of field goals assisted is 73%. All right, so if we start to play here for a second, and we're going to use some round numbers to make, because we're not that smart. You might be, but I'm not. So let's try to figure this out. So if Rudy has 312 field goals this season, that's what Rudy has. He's made 312 shots for the entire season, which is fine. Like, that's not, I don't mean that when I say like for the entire season, I don't mean that as like that's a low number. That's great. 73% of those are assisted. So let's just kind of try to play here. That means that basically 200 of his shots are assisted out of his 312. It comes out close. We just figured out he has 200 dunks. Only half of those are assisted. So 100 of his shots are assisted dunks of his made shots. So what's interesting here is this lob to Rudy, these things we think about all the time, getting Rudy the ball, those kind of things, that's about a third of his field goals. Okay? a third of Rudy's field goals to me look to be offensive rebounds. And the other third is pick and rolls where he takes a step and lays it up and in, or, or I guess he could dunk it off a bounce, and that's one of his 100 dunks. But if we figure most of his dunks are lobs, half of his dunks are unassisted. If they're unassisted, they're an offensive rebound. You with me? I don't think I've missed something here. Then the other third is coming on the pick and roll where he gets it and he takes a step and he lays it up and in, or he dunks it off from some distance, and it's not a lob. But that's so. If we just kind of look at Rudy, 33% is based on assisted, 33% is on offensive or assisted dunks, 33% is offensive rebound, and 33% is coming in a manner in which it's assisted and it's not a dunk per se, it's a lay-in of some sort. Because 73% of his field goals are assisted, but only 50% of his dunks. I know we're now into the deep math word problem, and it's kind of fun. This actually reminds me a little bit of like when you used to have this, like if Susie has 4 cookies and Betty has 3 cookies and Jonathan made 16 cookies and they all go to the state farm park and they walk out with $3, but only sell 74% of their cookies. How much money does Jonathan make? I don't know, but that's kind of where we are here. And I'm trying to make sense of it. I wish I had graphics for you on YouTube. It would make it a whole lot easier. But let's walk through it again from a different angle. So 312 field goals, 73% of which are assisted. So basically 200 of those are assisted. And the 100 that aren't assisted, we have figured out are 100 dunks that are unassisted dunks, which all come off the offensive rebound. So part of this is on Rudy. As much as Rudy wants to complain he's not getting the ball and he wants to or it's on the other team just not letting him get to the glass, but Rudy has to create. If Rudy can't create his offense the way Kevin Durant or Luka Doncic or Nikola Jokic or Donovan Mitchell can create his offense by just dribbling, making plays, getting free, the way Rudy can create his offense, 33% of his offense comes off offensive rebounds. And that's where Rudy has to do what the superstars in this league do offensively, is create their own offense. And his is going to be created by the offensive rebound. Okay? The second part of this is, can we get him the ball more? And if we can't, what's going on with that? So Mike is obviously the best at getting him the ball this year. Joe was actually pretty good at it. Jordan, has assisted on about a field goal to Rudy every 3 games. I think Rudy's played, what has Rudy played this year? 54 games. So he's probably 1 out of every 2 games Clarkson assists Rudy on a play. And they play together a lot. And Donovan's about 1 assist to Rudy about every 1.5 games, which is better than it used to be. So there is some level that when Jordan Clarkson's coming up the pick and he's looking into the middle of the lane to go shoot and he gets in the lane, he's not clearing space for the one guy on the roster who is legitimately running the pick and roll with the intention of getting the ball to Rudy Gobert is Mike Conley. And you can see it. Now, the problem right now is that Mike Conley's really struggling in the paint. He was a little better last night, but I think Mike Conley was 4 of his last 16 or 3 of his last 14 at the paint. I think he's now 4 of his last 16. And coming into last night, he was 11 of 32 in the floater range recently. And so he's probably been a little more tentative of getting into the paint. So, what do you do? Well, there was a really beautiful open side pick and roll where Mike Conley went middle and Rudy rolled the left side. Like, that's a hard spacing play, but it gets Mike in the middle and they don't have help. And so they're able to get it to Rudy on that the other night. You're running the high pick and roll. They're sagging guys in. We should be able to get corner threes. Last night, we only got 4 corner threes. Rewatching the game, it looked as though there's a lot of stuff in there in which what Brooklyn was doing was hugging to the 3 and leaving our top guys. I'm going to show you some photos on YouTube coming up, and I'll try to describe them as best as I can on the audio version. Some people have complained on the audio version, like, well, you're doing YouTube. Like, hey, I used to actually just do the audio version with the same pictures and not have a visual. So it's actually just a bonus for those people on YouTube, and it's the same horrendous podcast that existed on audio beforehand. So I don't think that the gripe is fair on that one. But so this is the issue. I think we've kind of, this is the summary here is clear. And that is that there is a burden here on Rudy because he doesn't have offensive moves and he's not, that kind of player. And I don't, some of this stuff I feel like is a really unfair ask on Rudy. And that is the fact that one is that Rudy is the greatest defensive player in the world because he can move and he has second actions. And then we turn around, we want him to have this low based and be able to do these post offensive things. He actually, if he does that, he can't be the greatest defensive player in the world. But we have got to find a way to get Rudy Gobert the ball more, because when he shoots 70%, and I probably should have said this at the beginning of the show, when he shoots 70% from the floor and he gets the ball, we win. We win. But it's a conglomeration of multiple things that have to take place for that to work. And some of it's getting Rudy the ball, and some of it's running so he gets in transition, and some of it's offensive rebound. And those are the things that have to happen in here. But it's clearly vital for our offense to go get him the ball. I don't really like this show right now. This is the problem with going live. I think if I wasn't going live, I would re-record the show. I don't feel like I established where I wanted to establish this show to start. I'll do that when I come in a second. At the 22-minute mark, I'll try to reestablish this show. I don't love the where this show is right now. It kind of has taken a different feel than I wanted. Yeah, sorry, you're getting inside the brain of me. But today's show is brought to you by Athletic Greens. Athletic Greens is a 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and they are there to start your day right. The special blend of ingredients and supports for your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, and aging. All those things. Please touch on how as Athletic Greens, I actually have my little Athletic Greens pack with me on the road. Just an early morning drink that lifestyle friendly, whether you're keto or paleo or vegan, dairy free or gluten free, contains less than a gram of sugar, supports sleep quality, recovery. And it costs less than $3 a day, has over 7,000 5-star reviews. Athletic Greens is going to give you free 1-year supply of the immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs. That's what I have with me with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NBA network. Again, it's athleticgreens.com/NBA network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. That's athleticgreens.com/NBA network. Today's show is also brought to you by betonline.net. BetOnline.net, the place where the game begins with all your news and information that you need on podcasts and other items. Get the latest lines that are out there as well. Remains the best spot for all your sports scores, podcast news this season. It's not just basketball. BetOnline is a continued source for all your sport wagering, including live betting and Vegas casino games. Head to the website or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and actions. BetOnline, where the game starts. I'm curious on the NBA, where the Celtics, our next opponent, are on NBA championship odds, because the numbers are beginning to say that the Celtics are unquestionably. Phoenix to win the championship is plus 330. Brooklyn, who we saw last night, is plus 650. Warriors are plus 650. Milwaukee's plus 700. Philadelphia's plus 800. Boston's plus 900. Heat are plus 900. We're plus 1,600. Memphis is plus 2,200. Boston's plus 425 to win the East. Brooklyn's plus 325. Ben Simmons' herniated disc seemed bad from the word there. Milwaukee plus 340 and Philadelphia plus 375. Pretty wide open and fun. But interesting. All right, so here's why I don't like this show today. The two things that I was trying to bring up today, one I just didn't bring up at all, was that the open last night, what became abundantly clear early in the game last night to me was that we are going to have to outscore them. There just was no way to stop Durant. We didn't have the personnel. No one in the league does. He's that great. It's almost impossible to stop Durant. I literally said to Ron, okay, our offensive rating has been 120 for each of the last 3 games. Can we get there again and outdo their 120? Because we're not going to be able to stop them. That to me was clear. And then as the game went on, it became clear to me that for us to get to 120, what we have to get to is Rudy Gobert has got to get shots, because at 70% shooting or 70% at the free throw line, that efficiency in those possessions are what drives us to our 120 offensive rating and makes us the best offensive team in the league. I have really screwed this show up today. So then that when you're not getting that, then I dug into like, okay, the numbers are clear. Like when Rudy gets 6 or more shots, we're 31 and 11, 74%. And when we score 14 or more points, Rudy gets 73%. But then like, okay, that's great. But the thing that drives me crazy is when someone just sit there and says, well, go give Rudy Gobert the ball more. Well, okay, dip, whatever. Like, how do you do that? And what I'm trying to break down here is it's not that easy for either Rudy, the coaches, or the other players to just go get Rudy Gobert the ball more. It's a little bit of a mixed bag for everybody. Like Rudy's got to be really forceful on the offensive glass and probably get a third of his. If he's going to go, if we need Rudy to go get 8 shots a night, he's going to have to probably get 3 of them on offensive rebounds. And then he's going to have to probably get 2 or 3 of them by running the floor and getting an early opportunity, and then probably 1 or 2 lobs, but not 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 lobs. Like that's not an offense. So that's a little bit of what I was trying to portray here, and have not done it very well. And also a little bit of what, makes this really hard for us. Like, when we're all want to win this championship and we all want this and that, like there's also some element where it's just not that easy. Like we make it sound like it's that easy. Like Kevin Durant and these guys, like Kevin, the unbelievable part of Kevin Durant, Luka Doncic, and Nikola Jokic is how easy, and Giannis a little bit, is how easy they make the game look. Our guys, it's not easy for Rudy. It's not easy for Mike Conley or Joe Ingles or was Joe Ingles or Jordan Clarkson or Donovan Mitchell to go get Rudy the ball either. Like it's hard. Let's look at it for a second. So let me see if I can find. All right. So here are, I have 3 plays I pulled off yesterday. Let me see if you guys can. All right. I think you can see them. So this first one that's up on the screen, I guess I should. This is a Jordan Clarkson drive to the middle. Like you can't even see Jordan Clarkson in this picture. So, hey, we missed Bogey a tremendous amount. Mike Conley's in the left corner. Rudy Gay is lifted high right. I think that's Juancho Herman Gomez on the right side. We tried a new lineup. Rudy's rolling. There's literally a guy on Rudy with his forearm in his chest. Rudy's been stood up at 9 feet out, and there's 3 guys on Jordan Clarkson. Now, to some extent, that may be, hey, people know that Jordan Clarkson doesn't do a lot of passing, but it also is a pretty, like, you're not getting Rudy the ball on that play. Now, Jordan on that actually has a little bit where he's, give me 1 second. They've come for my luggage, and so I have to get them my luggage. I'm back. Sorry about that. That's 2 days in a row we've had little things. All right, so the other one to look at, there were 2 more of these. So here's these are all of the first quarter last night. So here's Rudy rolling to the basket. Mike Conley has it. He actually swings it to Royce O'Neal, who's wide open, and Royce gets a 3. If you look at this play, Mike Conley's being guarded by Goran Dragic and Kevin Durant. Nick Claxton never leaves Rudy Gobert. This is a defensive adjustment. This is a team guarding the pick and roll. Nick Claxton actually never leaves Rudy Gobert on this pick and roll. Kevin Durant just never guards Royce O'Neal. Kevin Durant is supposed to be guarding Royce O'Neal. 7-1 Kevin Durant is standing at the top of the free throw line, cutting off Mike Conley's drive on the pick and roll that Rudy has set. And Dragic is staying attached to Conley. And then not having Bogey is hurting here too, because you can see Seth Curry has got both feet in the paint with Herman Gomez in the right corner. So again, like, oh, we got to go get Rudy the ball. How? Like, how are you getting Rudy the ball on this play? Pick and roll at the top, which is a great play to get him. Nick Clarkson stays and puts his, like, literally they're at 15 feet, and Nick Clarkson's between Rudy and the basket. It's not like Rudy can go play wide receiver and try to juke him and go Harold Carmichael, old football reference, to get the ball to the rim. Mike Conley's actually now guarded by two guys. Mike Conley makes the right read and gives it to Royce O'Neal. And Royce has an open three. So I don't know what you're supposed to do on that play, right? Again, I think my point here is that none of this is easy. It's what we need to do, but it's not like clear how. Here's another one. This is pretty interesting. Jordan comes off a pick. Rudy is going to roll on Durant. Durant's literally grabbing Rudy, so that's part of it, right? They grab Rudy, they hold Rudy. But even look at the weak side. I think the guy in the middle lane is Seth Curry, who's supposed to be guarding what maybe Trent Forrest in this lineup with 2:37 left, or it's Rudy Gay. I can't see on the far side. It might be Rudy Gay. Like, he's literally not guarding him. They're so worried about Rudy and the role that Seth Curry has 1 foot inside the restricted area, 1 foot outside the restricted area, but in the paint. And I think that might be James Johnson on the other side, who's probably, so that's who's guarding Rudy Gay. Seth Curry's probably guarding, what is Juancho Herman Gomez maybe in this lineup again? As we try this as our bridge lineup, is, he's got 1 foot in the paint and to get out to Rudy Gay. And then, so if Gobert were to roll right now, first of all, Durant's holding him. Second of all, Seth Curry is in on him and James Johnson, and they're sagging into that corner. We only got 4 corner threes and forcing the pass out to the above the break three. There's just not a lot of easy answers here is what I'm trying to tell you. It's not a failure on anybody's part. It's just difficult. And so that, I think, is the takeaway. All right, I kind of screwed up this show. I didn't set up quite the way I wanted to. I thought I had it well organized, and then I didn't. Kind of mad at myself right now. And if we weren't live, as I said, I would re-record it. But we're not. So hopefully you got a good takeaway in it, and hopefully you understand that my point here is, one, that it was clear last night that their offense was so great, which it has been. It's been unbelievable, and it's like, 124 since Durant came back, that we weren't going to be able to stop, and we had to try to match them offensively. And the only way for us to match them offensively is to get Rudy involved. That's why we have the number one offense in all of the NBA. And then when someone took away Rudy last night so dramatically, what do we do? And why is it that we're not able to always get Rudy the ball? I think we tried to break that down just in a convoluted order. So for those of you who stayed with the whole show, thank you. It is Locked On Jazz. Thanks very much for your second listen. Try Locked On NBA or on the YouTube channel Locked On Now and get a recap of all the games last night. Locked On